What up traders, what up investors, Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor, and we're going to be looking at Roku. In particular, a large hedge fund or a large trader, in that fact, is looking for a particular bullish play into earnings. It could be an earnings play into earnings, it could be an afterthought of Roku beating very well on earnings. But again, super mindful, full disclosure, anyone who's watched the channel for more than 5 minutes knows that earnings is a coin flip. The coin flip means that it's a 50-50 chance of going up or down, and for whatever reason, it can go up or down. Roku could come out with some gangbusters numbers between fantastic revenue, great guidance if they give it, and they can go through the moon, or they can give that same scenario, but some analysts just don't like it. Their models are saying XYZ, Roku shouldn't be worth that much, and they put a sell rating on it. Whatsoever, just be super mindful of that. It's very difficult to be trading straight calls into earnings, so be mindful. You're taking a pretty substantial risk when you're doing that. That being said, and that disclosure out of the way, Roku has been pretty much running up into earnings here just the last couple days. We're seeing, again, we've been really around that tight pattern here. We saw it multiple times via our requests from our live streams from folks asking about Roku. Roku, hey Ken, what's it gonna do? What's it gonna do? And I said, hey bro, like dudes, girls, at 151, that's what we're holding. Unless it starts proving itself, it needs to prove itself to make its previous high around 176, or if it wants to go to the downside, if you want to be a bear and swipe down on it, you're basically going to be looking for around 130, 131 price target. That being said, let's go ahead and just ponder our way through some of these call options that are kind of going through the system today. As you can see here, we have one of the highest calls that's going to be coming out on August 21st call. That's the 150 call strike price. Total quantity about 399. The price of that option was $22, aka $2,200 per contract. And that was at a 75 delta. So 75 delta, that was meaning that it's in the money. We can kind of tell it's in the money again by seeing the 150 call and the current price trading around 167, 168. So we can go ahead and look at that options chain again. They do have weekly options, but again, folks don't want to be too aggressive on buying calls into those things. This trader is particularly giving them some time. So if we enter this information, it's basically nearly a $878,000 trade here for could be a run up into earnings. They could sell it at 359 today. I'm not sure, but this is a very bullish trade in the short and intermediate term. Therefore, you can also see here some shorter term stuff at folks basically looking at the 175 call for August 7th. Again, that's going to be this Friday expiration, and someone selling some calls here. It looks like at potentially the same expiration, the 7th, but you can see that's a very low delta up there. So that basically has like a 4% chance of this stock being in the money by Friday. That being said, let's go ahead and just jump into the large part of the trade here. This is going to be again the August monthly expiration, and you're seeing that again, that 150 strike price, seeing a lot of activity going in today. So you see the volume today and the overall open interest. So if you start looking in the money, you're seeing quite a few volume coming in again at that 150 call. Basically the 76 delta right now. Again, this is the delta on this column, open interest, volume, and then the change of what the cost of that volume since it has been opened up today. So there's basically only up 2.53%, and you can kind of see some of the movement down here has also kind of dropped just slightly, and a lot of activity basically going around 146. Same on the put side, we are seeing again, since the tick is kind of going up slightly, was nearly up 1%, actually slightly higher today. Some of these overall are losing their premium due to the fact of theta decay, since this is again less than 21 days out. It's 16 days to be exact. That theta decay is really going to be kicking into these out of the money options here on the calls and put sides. So we're seeing some activity coming in today, basically just buying some at-the-money calls anywhere from the 165 down to the 170s. Again, this particular strike price trades at 250. Skip point, so it basically goes to every $2.50 there's a strike price. Normally they're usually 5 wide, but a stock that's been readily available like Roku is trades a little bit different like that. That being said, let's go ahead and jump to the charts here. So looking at the chart here, with the previous high on this stock here, we can kind of pan out to the weekly side. That's not the weekly side. Let's go back here. To the weekly side, kind of want to get ourselves grounded here, is basically 176.55, potentially trying to grind our way up there to test that level. Again, that previous high, it would be a significant a milestone, a great significant point to kind of bust through and make another new all-time high. With earnings, again, complete coin flip. No one has a crystal ball, so you're really just seeing on how things come out and how the company presents itself and how the analysts can take it and the other folks on the retail side. That being said, we've kind of seen this kind of come up multiple times on our live streams. A lot of folks, a lot of traders, a lot of gals are requesting this ticker. This thing has been somewhat in a, lack of a better words, trading zone here previously, basically since the pandemic. Made a nice recovery, but then really failed here at the 1618, was basically the $131 price target. It's tried to tap at that door multiple times, failed, kind of came down, hugged, kind of cuddled with the 200 EMA for a little bit, then kind of made another boost higher, failed again, came back in for another quick cuddle, and then came busting through the 131 with a lot of momentum, and that's when you saw some volume pickup once people in algorithms and whoever was following the stock saw that confirmation breakthrough. The next line in the sand was basically the 151 price target, which was the previous swing high to low of the 7-8 point percentile move of that Fibonacci retracement. All right. So yeah, the 78 percentile move from that. Now really consolidating at that pattern here. Same thing kind of happening now. We had that move higher. Now folks are jumping on the bandwagon and potentially trying to ride this up to the high here, the previous high at 176. Again, we're throwing in that little speed bump potentially with earnings. So this could, again, downward supports, basically the first level of support is going to come in around 151, and then of course next level support is really going to be coming down to around the 50-day, which is around the 131 price target. That lines up with the 618. We can kind of look at the overall movement projections, what the options markets are saying. They're basically saying $18 from where we're currently trading, so that's a pretty significant move just into Friday. So it's basically that 2.5 days left of trading here into that move. Basically $18 plus or minus is still a significant move. Basically could take us all the way down back to around the 150 price target here, which is again where that first initial support is. We'll call this standard deviation 1 or level 1 support here. Again, that's the 78.6 percentile move on the Fibonacci retracements. Of course, to the upside, we'll be looking a little bit past this previous high, but everything has to be all cylinders pumping, all motors going full steam ahead to really get and break out above that previous high, because again, there's going to be a lot of overhead pressure over this when folks are expecting some great things, or some folks who have been kind of caught in this for a little bit and just kind of waiting for a break to get out. So if it really bursts and has the ability to break through this, we could see this run for a little bit. If this really runs, we could see a price target around 208. So 208, not saying it's going to happen on earnings, but over the short to intermediate term, that could happen if the earnings is great and the momentum continues. Because what we're seeing here is the volume oscillator is highly elevated, same with the RSI, and we have a 2-day squeeze set up, and that's usually a significant push. A squeeze would have enough momentum to push it up to the next level here, potentially to that previous high. But with earnings and the FOMO mentality, when earnings comes out and things like that, it can really drive up the price substantially more. So we're looking potentially to the 208.50 price target in the short to intermediate term if the earnings reports are great and it takes the overall market accepts the earnings report and it goes continue going higher. Again, to the downside, we're looking to like 151 potentially. And again, if they come out and say Roku has actually been hacked, or they're going out of business, or some other whatever reason you can throw in and just make some negative news out of it, or they're just not making much money, or they're like, oh, whoops, we forgot to charge all those folks who wanted those devices, and we forgot to collect their credit card numbers or whatever. So it comes crashing down to like 130, potentially even lower if they're not collecting any money. But that being said, these are just different case scenarios. So the basic guidelines we're looking at, again, this is nothing set in stone here, that we could kind of guide between 176 to 151, potentially a little bit higher to around 180 to about 150 there, to kind of be mindful of those two different time frames there. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hopefully to see you on the live stream tonight. We're going to be doing that at around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Would love to see you out there. Definitely check out the Discord, and if you're interested in joining the Dyslexic Investor Club, please hit the join button next to the subscribe button. Peace!